I'm going to take from the market what I want. That's not the case. You take what the market gives you and be content with it.
Like when you really go deep, like think about treating your children differently because of that, or treating your husband not as nicely, or your wife not as nicely because you lost a funded account that you paid like $250 for
me of being like, I am in such a bad losing streak right now. If I take another trade, and it's a loser, I'm gonna go throw up.
Like in the first, year or whatever of trading, your spouse can feel your energy. When you walk out on a losing day, you could try and be as nice as you can, and then she drops a fork on the ground, and you're like, "What the fuck?" Like,
if 95% of traders fail, then that means 95% of people that we interact with know somebody, or in theory know somebody that has failed. And it's only 5% of people that we're going to interact with that actually have met a successful trader.
All I'm saying is when you come to the chart and you think like you're so amped because you expect it to be green, it's probably not allowing that new information to come in to totally read the charts appropriately.
This is the Full In Podcast, real conversations with real traders. All right, everyone, welcome back to the pod. We are here to have the conversations that help bridge the gap between education for brand new traders and interview education for people who have been trading for 10 plus years. And I think a big goal of this podcast is to help give people a community, because a lot of us were lonely when we first started trading, and we were lucky enough to find the ASFX community and be able to meet up in person, and now be able to do podcasts like this. However, we know this isn't readily available for everyone in the industry, and I think we all see a large gap that needs to be filled. So that is our goal and mission statement with this podcast. So with that all being said, let's get right into it, guys. So I know we were going to do a conversation about affiliate marketing. That was, we ended on a pretty spicy note last week. However, our guest is unable to be on the podcast this week with us, so she will be joining us at a later date for that conversation. But with that being said, we have some great topics today. And Randy, why don't you kick us off and tell us how important it is to have people around you that are supporting you in your endeavors, whether that be trading or something personal as well.
Yeah, it's actually, I didn't realize until I started to learn how to trade how important that was. I've had a lot of people around me that I thought were supportive, and they were in certain aspects of my life, but when it came to trading, it was maybe they had their own insecurities, but as I went on this journey, I started to realize that I was fortunate enough to have a partner like Hillary, and she supported me and, understood. We had a newborn at the time when I first started trading, which was another, I waited till Miles was born, and I gave it a month, and then I went in full time into trading. And, thankfully he was a good baby and slept all night, but Hillary would still Monday to Friday get up with them at night, just realizing, being on the West Coast, I'm at the desk at 5. When I first started learning to trade, I was at the desk at 5 a.m. watching pre-market, which now the three of us know that we don't need to do that anymore. And we give that advice to new traders, is just, you don't need to race to the desk to be there at 5 a.m. But yeah, no, so she always made sure that I got a good night's rest, and how important it was. And if Miles did wake up, she'd get up with them. And then on the weekends, it was the opposite. I would take care of Miles if he woke up throughout the night and in the morning, and she would, if she wanted to sleep in, it was up to her, and she did. So, but having that support really showed me that, having, I don't know how to put it into words, like, two of us, her supporting me made me a better trader. If she didn't support me, and there were blips in this whole last, year and a half, where there was moments I felt I had to prove myself right, to prove her, not prove her wrong, but just to say, hey, look, there's a reason I'm doing this, and I think that I needed pressure. So I can imagine having a partner that doesn't support you, and how you have that feeling all the time. And every trade is like, I need to be right so I can prove her right. I need to do this so I can, or him or her, or whatever it is. So having that supportive partner it's just been huge for me, and it's something highly recommend. And, just in life, if you don't have supportive people around you, you're not going to, no one's going to motivate you and push you to be better, or even hold you accountable for those days that you fall off the ledge and you go on tilt, right? Like, I have you guys to do that for me. If I go on tilt, Christine will be the first person to call me out, or Thomas, you'll know, like, we'll just be texting each other, or throwing a message in our group chat about, what's going on, where are you? So it's like, support is key when you want to try doing something that's one of the hardest things in the world, which is learn to trade and then compete against smart money in these institutions that, have these veterans that have been doing it their whole lives. And they're, like, the name of the game is to take money from you, and you're obviously not you're the one learning, right? So, but yeah, maybe Christine, like you, what's your take on it?
Yeah, Christine, explain to us as a mother, because you're a mother and a business owner now. So, Randy gets the side of, as a father, and he's, can rely on the mother of his kid to help, but you are that mother. So how is it for you?
It's okay. So let me first explain this. There is a difference. I truly believe there's a biological, like, understanding in men that you're allowed to walk out of the door at 9 and not come back until 6. And you don't fucking feel a single beat of guilt. Like, that's ingrained in your biology, and you're so used to that. It's not for women, at least for me. So I have a really supportive husband, which is amazing. But I still have to internally battle, like, the frustration of me wanting to walk out of the door at 9 and not come back until 5 or 6 o'clock and not, like, even have a second thought about it. But that's not necessarily the case. So it's like, it's a lot of juggling, especially my kids are 4 and 6. And I started trading when my youngest kid was 11 months old. And I had to get a nanny to watch her. So, like, I'd have the nanny in the house, and I would still breastfeed her, like, on my breaks, and I would work downstairs. So it was always, like, very inclusive with my family. And not all women are like this. What I realized was that I love my kids, but I love doing something for myself, and that happens to be trading. So I do like going to work. I don't want to go to another 9 to 5. I don't want to, like, go out into the working world and do something. Like, I want to do something for myself, which is why I love trading. But it can be a really interesting balance. And I'd be interested to see if other, like, women in trading feel the same way, because I think there is a difference. Because, like, look at the big, like, trading entrepreneurs, like Austin, for example, Austin Silver, we love you. But, like, he works probably an incredible amount of time. And we were at the conference not too long ago, and he was talking about how he was explaining to his wife that he has to do this. Like, this is what he's doing for their future family. And, like, he's working all this time. And I'm like, wow, like, I was super envious of how luxurious that sounded for him to be able to say, I'm starting work at 8, and I'm not coming back till 6. And then we can have the off times. I'm like, oh, I could never say that. Like, it just doesn't work for me as a mom. Like, I have literally, my husband and I have, like, split our time. I usually work, like, 3 hours in the morning if I'm lucky. And then I do, like, after school and afternoons with the kids. So it's, I don't know.
Do your kids get it? Do you have to, like, explain to your kids, like, mommy's going to go work for 3 hours or something like that? Is that a conversation you have?
My kids probably really have no idea what the real world is like, because they've only known their parents to work, like, out of their house, their bedroom, their office. Like, I'm in a loft right now because we're back at our cottage in Canada. So they know that mommy's working or on a work call, but they don't know anything other than that. And the same with their dad. Like, he runs like a landscape coaching business online. So he has calls and he goes to work, whether it be in the house. And now he just, like, shipped a office out back. So he'll go to work in the backyard, and that's just what they know. Like, they don't know. They're gonna have some weird ideas about life, I'm pretty sure, when they grow up.
Yeah, and so just giving my 2 cents a little bit,
Yeah.
because I feel like I've had both sides. So being young, my parents still have a pretty large, impact on my life and just at least my way of thinking. And, I first told them that I wanted to day trade. It was like, what are you doing? This is a scam. Like, just how could you do this? Because they're both educators. They're both, they have pensions. They're, very traditional government workers in that sense. So when I explained that I wanted to go off on my own and not be a part of in a sense that you could call it a community. There's a great book. It's called The Village and or it's called the on the Edge, something by Nate Silver, and it talks about there's two different types of people, two types of ways to make income, and that's from the river and from the village. So the village is your community based, making money. You go to a job, they pay you, yada yada. But then there's the river, which is all based on EV, expected value. So that's anybody who's making any business bet, because at the end of the day, trading is not gambling. If you say trading is gambling, then I would give you the analogy of when you pay for a marketing campaign at a business, that is the same thing, because do you know that marketing campaign is going to generate you any type of return? You don't. It's just a bet. And the same way that a marketing company might take that bet, I'm willing to take that bet with my money on stock. So but I wasn't always able to explain this to them. I didn't have the knowledge to explain this. So it's been a very uphill battle with them. And now we're getting to a place where it's very understood that there's a clear path in sight. There might be some rocks and some boulders to cross, but there is a path. But on the other hand, I have Megan, my partner, who has been unbelievably supportive since the start. I remember thinking, okay, I'm going to day trade. I got fired from a job that we both worked together. And so she quit as well. And now we're left with a unbelievably large rent payment that we were not going to be able to keep up for a place that we could not afford. And it was about 2 weeks after, or it was really like the day after, that I decided something had to change. Then I thought of day trading, started doing research, and I did research for about 2 weeks before I told her that I was going to try this. And since then, it's been nothing but supportive. And basically, when I've been able to balance, having people that, maybe not that they don't believe in me, but they don't believe in the business that I chose or the venture that I chose. And then also having someone who just believes in me and whatever I'm doing uncharacteristically. And that has been, a huge motivator for me.
I think it's really hard to explain. Like, I'm trying to think about the process of, first starting day trading. And then you look at your partner and you try to explain what it is. And you have to say, okay, and at the time, you don't really know how long it's going to take. I don't know where Randy went. But anyways, you're trying to explain to them, okay, it's going to take a few years. This is a skill that I'm trying to learn. And I lost my train of thought. But it's like, how do you tell your partner? How do you give them the full grasp of what it is? Like in the beginning, like, hey,
when you don't even know what you're doing, like you don't even know what you're doing.
No.
There's a great quote by Jordan Peterson. It's like, nobody knows what exactly to do next, but you kind of know what that next step should be. And I feel like that's a lot of day trading, where we see the next step and we can keep taking them, but then projecting it out and trying to explain the whole business plan in the first 6 months, I don't think it's a doable task.
Because if you go to a job or you go to school, and let's say I'm going to go to a college degree for 4 years in marketing. Okay, everyone knows what that is. And then I'm going to get a job at a marketing agency as like a bottom account manager or whatever the fuck they do in marketing agencies. And that makes sense. Like, okay. And you say, I'm starting at this salary, but my goal over the next few years is to get promotion after promotion, and my salary will go up. And you have like this clear, understandable path of A, what you're doing, B, how you're going to make money, C, how you're actually going to grow. But you try to put that into trading terms, and it's almost like impossible to explain that.
Well, that's like the one one of the biggest things that really, it doesn't annoy me, but it actually like, it like explaining these things is people ask me all the time, are you making money?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
yeah.
now
Yes.
if I was in just like Christine's scenario, if I wouldn't got a job at a marketing firm, anybody would know that, oh, okay, like, you know, you work at a marketing firm, you start at a salary of 60 grand, but some guys make 150 or 200,000. Like people know that already. So
Yes.
nobody asks you when you start your job,
Are you
hey, are
making
you
money?
making money? Well, yes, I'm going to work, I'm getting paid. You're not going to ask me if I'm making money, but that's the number one thing people ask me.
Yes.
And
Are
the
you making
only
money?
person,
Yeah.
the only person that hasn't asked me is my partner, because she knows that, you know, obviously I've taken a couple of small payouts, but in the big scheme of things, I'm you know, still not a profitable trader. I'm still negative at the end of the day. But,
You,
you know, trying to
you know,
explain that to anybody else would be
Yeah.
absolutely like, they would look at you and be like, so what are you doing? So you are making money, you're not making money? What? And it's just like,
What do you?
this is
it's
a
such a
long
great
game.
point, because imagine if you started a business where you're selling something
Mhm.
and you're generating revenue. You're let's say you sell 10K a month, but your cost is 2K or 12K a month. So you're still net down 2K every single month. But when you tell somebody that you're running a business and you're generating 10K, losing 12K, they have no problem with that. They see it as, okay, you're just a business owner. But for some reason, trading is not viewed the same. And that's what I can't stand, because it's these conversations that you have with people where it's like, I just don't even want to finish it. And like, something I think about is like, if 95% of traders fail, then that means 95% of people that we interact with know somebody, or in theory know somebody that has failed. And it's only 5% of people that we're going to interact with that actually have met a successful trader. So it's no like, it doesn't bother me, or like it doesn't come off as weird that this is the case, but just that this is the reality.
So
Yeah.
how many people do you guys know or don't know or know that never spoke about they bought shares of GameStop and blew money on that, or they bought crypto and lost money on that? Those people don't come out and say, and they could be like my good friend for all I know, never told me that, hey, I went and put $1,000 in X stock, and stock, you know, blew up on me and I lost that 1,000 grand. Well, you tried to be, you know, you tried to either be an investor or a trader, and you didn't suffice that. And here we are, been doing it for over a year and a half each. And there's people that have been doing it for multiple years, you know, not having the success that you think you would get by doing something that long. But again, this is where it's like minor. I'm a strong believer. If you've been trading for 5 years and you're not profitable, it's probably one or two minor tweaks will get you over that line. But it's, yeah. Anyways, that's a whole nother story.
I mean, it's like, so I'm taking the SIE exam to become, a securities exchange person, and to be able to work in this industry. And, like one of my buddies, he invested in biotech stocks, and, it's phase 2, might get to phase 3, and then it gets pulled, lost, didn't pass phase 3, and you lose everything. Knowing what I know now, that is the most stupid investment you can make. Buying a biotech with the hopes that it goes up. That is so dumb. I would never advise anyone to do that. But if you don't know anything about trading, that's what you're going to do. So it's like, even if you don't care about trade, you don't think it's going to work, I would like urge you to just study it, learn about it for 3 to 4 months, because it's going to make you a much better investor as a whole. Like, we all have 401ks or Roth IRAs, whatever that is, and you have to be able to manage that.
Yeah.
No,
I know a lot of people that could get into trading that just don't know what the hell it is. Like I have some friends and they have 2 kids and they're 13 and 15. And I did like a presentation for them because these kids are like entrepreneurs. They want to make money. And I'm like, well, here you fucking go. Like, you work on this for 5 years and I promise you in your 20s, you'll be doing better than every one of your friends and better than you even dreamed of. But I mean, can they do that at that age and have the discipline? Maybe. But even if the bug is put in their minds, like there's so many people that just literally don't know what day trading is. And if you're right. If they just found a bunch of YouTube videos and watched it for 2 to 3 weeks and something clicked in their mind of like what happened to all of us. We found it somehow. It captivated us. Now we're obsessed with it. And like, this has to be our job. There's no other option. Like, we're not going to fail at it because there is nothing else. And I feel like a lot more people could be like that.
I think at the same time, people look at it and they think it's a get rich quick scheme, and you're going to get lucky. So they look at you with their own insecurities, and they say to themselves, "Oh, they can. If I can't do it, they can't do it." Right? So if Christine's being an unsuccessful at trading, that's because I'm not able to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like you get a lot of flack like that. Like at least I've noticed that.
Yeah.
And I've had people that are, great friends. Like one of Hillary's good friends said to her, nonchalantly too, like, I hope Randy's get rich quick scheme works out. And
that's the thing. If you made $100,000, Randy, in your first year, you just reinforced that it's a get rich quick scheme.
Yeah.
If you didn't make that $100,000, it's a scam. Either way, it's a lose-lose. Yeah. Either way with these conversations.
But that's why we need to have these conversations, and that's why we need a platform like this, or even just community, or Black Shirt Club, or whether it's the Strong Trader. I'm just saying a trading community is important, because then it's everybody in the community understands the pain and the grief you go through to get to. I took a $3,800 payout. It took me 14 months. I couldn't live off $3,800 for even a month. Right? It wouldn't even cover the bills for a month. So it's like, until people understand that, it's and then when I plaster that all over my social media pages, it's not the fact that I made $3,800. It's the fact that I achieved a goal. Forget the monetary value. It's, hey, this is what I set out to do. And this is kind of like a stepping stone. And I don't know where I read it, but they talk about just like running across a river and skipping across rocks. Your foot's gonna slip and you're gonna go in the water, but you're gonna pull your foot out and you're gonna jump to the next rock. Mm-hmm. So it's like, as I'm doing these jumping, and eventually my feet will get drier and drier. Before you know it, we'll be on the other side of the river, right? So,
and just to sum up this conversation, how can you balance listening to someone that you care about and that you love, and they have valuable advice, but how can we balance when they're not lifting you up, but still, maybe keeping them in your life? Or overall, how can you take someone into consideration when they're not necessarily helping you, but maybe in that long term they do have the right vision in mind? Christine, why don't you kick us off?
Want me to start? Okay, well, I'll try to say this appropriately. So, and I'll tailor this to the dudes, because there's a lot of trading bros out there, and a lot of them are husbands and a lot of them are dads. So this is my perspective. As a husband, as a dad, you have a responsibility to build the trust of financial stability from your partner. So let's say your partner, your wife in this hand, is kind of skeptical about trading, they don't believe in it, all this stuff. That means that you, as the leader, I don't know why I'm quoting, but as the leader in this family, you have not done the job of building trust in this space so that your partner actually believes in the journey that you believe in. So if you look at Randy's situation, how his wife, Hillary, who's amazing, I love her, has from the first day he started it, believed in him. And that's because Randy would have, prior to this, built the trust in her that he was leading his family and her in the best direction. And I know that's really sounds kind of crazy. It sounds kind of super high level, but it is important to have trust built between you and your partner. If you and your partner are clashing over a dream that you have, and they don't believe and support you, there is a very hard line of trust that is not there. And that's so difficult. I remember we were in, I think it was the ASFX stream one time, and someone posted, if you're listening to this and this is you, comment below. But basically, you said, this guy said he didn't his wife didn't know he was trading, or his girl didn't know he was trading. Like, people will literally just not tell their partners because they know they won't have the support. But it's, you have to look at why you don't have that support, and you have to create basically a life that allows your partner to support you in all your crazy dreams. And that has to be like you. It's like the old thing, like, who can you control? You can't control your partner. You can't force them to support you, but you can control yourself and what kind of like trust you build within your partnership.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like, I'll add I'll add my kind of point, something that I just heard in a podcast that I thought was really cool, but just kind of what Christine was saying. I still remember the first XFA I blew, and I think it might have been 5. I was copy trading. I blew all 5 at once. But anyways, I remember coming out of the room, and there was a part of me that didn't want to tell Hillary.
Yeah.
I was so embarrassed. And, I told her, and I was waiting for her to have this look of disappointment, like, because getting your first XFA and blowing your first XFA is a really, really tough thing, because it's you're here, and then as soon as you blow it, you're here, like that, and you're just like, oh, like you thought you made it, and you're back at square one, if not even further below it, right? So instead, she looked at me, and it was a blue 5 accounts. It was a really bad blow up too. It wasn't just I took my time and I was really safe, and it was just a really, really, stupid trading. Not very, very smart trading. Just being aggressive, being a gambler. And I looked at her and I told her, and she looked upset. And then in my head, I'm like, is she disappointed? And then she was actually, I think she was more hurt seeing me upset than it was about being, that I blew those accounts. I think she was just like, she could feel my pain. So I think when you have that connection and you have that trust, so every time I blow an account or I do something stupid, I come out of the room, I take a breath, and I tell her. It's like almost like letting her know, instead of letting it hide and keep it inside you. That's the worst thing you could possibly do. But you have that trust. And then even if you don't, like now after that, like if you don't have that trust, take the time to explain at least to your partner what you're trying to do. Like Nick Stewart actually said it in that recent podcast with Austin, and I love the way he said it. And he's like, just sit down with if your partner doesn't understand what you're doing and is giving you shit about trading, you're not doing a good enough job explaining to them that, hey, I'm really working on something. If this works out, this is going to be, I'm thinking about the family, I'm thinking about me and you. Like, this is why I go in my office for an hour every night and work on the charts and do these things. If you take the time to explain it, and they still don't understand it, then maybe, there's more underlying problems. But most of the time, if you're with somebody and you guys are together for a reason and things are good, if you explain something to somebody, they're going to eventually be like, that makes sense to me.
I think you have to paint the picture of your passion. You have to like get them to feel it like you feel it. And I listened to that podcast too, and it was so right. Like, he sat down and he explained this dream of his and how it could not change their family's life, but like provide for their family in ways that they could only dream 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And if you can literally paint the incredible, idea that you have in regards to trading, I think you're right. Like, hopefully, if you have a good relationship, your partner should be supportive of that. Logistics, maybe you got to figure out, like, maybe you can't be in your office all day because you have kids and you need to spend time with them and all that stuff. But as long as you are able to paint the picture of your dream, I think that's super helpful to help your partner support you.
And I 100% agree with all that. And I think we touched on a point there that didn't even get discussed much, which is verbally speaking to another human the mistake that you made or the thing that happened. And then when it gets put in perspective, especially to someone that's not trading, and they look at you with that sense of like, are you really this worked up about this right now? Like, is that what's the number one thing that's going on in your head? It just puts it all into perspective, and it helps release that negative energy that we all know not to carry around.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so That one
This
for
is
me, is just, it gets me every time. Like when I go tell her something that happened, or because I have been guilty of letting a blown Tradeify account spiral me into a terrible day where then I'm
Yeah.
just being like mean to her.
Mhm.
And we all raise our hand. We all know we've
Yeah.
done it. And at the end of the day, she's like, so what happened today? Like, why this happened today? Did I deserve this? And no, you didn't deserve this. I didn't deserve this either. Our relationship didn't deserve this. And that's the beauty of either having a spouse or a partner to talk to, or just a trading buddy. I've had trading buddies before, Randy and Christine. It has helped me immensely. I have. Yep. Yep. And
Those assholes, I hate them.
yeah, but now it's different. You just keep picking up, and you just find what you need, and move on. But just to end that conversation, I love a quote that I heard a couple years ago when I started my entrepreneurial journey, which is, don't take advice from people who aren't in a position you want to be.
Mm,
And the way I applied that to my own life is, I can see my parents in a beautiful house. They just bought cash, that they were able to sell their place. They are set. They are set for life. They have a house paid for in cash on the beach, and 2 pensions from the government that are going to be, plenty of money. So I can take so much away from them. But do I want to do it the same way they did it? No. I want to do it my own way. So it's finding a balance and knowing what advice to take from certain people. So with that, is there anything you guys want to say before we move on here?
I'll just add one more thing you made me think of when you were saying coming out of your room and just not letting it spiral your day. I think a sign of growth as a trader, at least for me, something was, I had a few weeks ago, like my biggest day of the year. And Hillary didn't know until she saw my Instagram story
good
that
job.
I had the biggest day. Because before, and like Thomas said, it's in the first, year or whatever of trading, your spouse can feel your energy. When you walk out on a losing day, you could try and be as nice as you can. And then she drops a fork on the ground and you're like, what the fuck? Like, it's just like that. It happens. And then she's looking and she's like, what did I
Oh,
do? And in my head, I'm like, you didn't do anything. My stop loss got hit. I'm an idiot. I went 10 minis deep on a short one. You know what I mean? Like, just, but yeah, it's just, but when you get to that point where, your wins and losses, because before I would have a $10 win and I would be doing a backflip coming out of the room and she'd be like, oh my God, we're rich, aren't we? And I was like, no, I just made $10, like of sim money, not even real money, right? Like the funniest thing.
oh my
So, but I
God.
think a sign of growth in this whole conversation is just when you're able to, life just goes on, whether it's a winning day or losing day.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
I don't
it's
come out and I'm not moody, or I'm not this. Maybe I'm moody because I didn't get enough sleep. That will happen. Maybe I'm moody because I'm just stressed out about some other things. But when my trading just becomes very level, and whether it's a winning day or losing day, I think is just something, everybody, if you're able to do some of that stuff, give yourself a pat on the back, right? So
yeah, it's such a good point. And I think I wish I could have recognized that should have been one of the first things I learned as like a brand new trader. We're talking like the first year, because you go through, like you already talked about it, losing like 5 accounts and what it does to you emotionally. Like same, like I've lost tons of accounts or not passed combines or been close to passing something and then losing it in the end. And it it left me with like, put me in an emotional like down area. And it's not fair. Like when you really go deep, like think about treating your children differently because of that, or treating your husband not as nicely, or your wife not as nicely because you lost a funded account that you paid what, like $250 for anyways. Like I wish I spent more time focusing on controlling my emotional stability in trading, period. Now I'm get like a lot better. Like if I lose an account, it's not going to affect my day same way. Like I'm down $500 today. I'm still smiling and happy. I'm not taking it down on my kids. But in the beginning, it was not like that. And I would have bad weekends because I had a bad trading week, or I like fucked up on Friday and traded 7 trades when I should have traded 1. And if you're like in that area, that should be your main goal, not even your profit and loss, not passing combines or not getting a payout, like that alone has to be your like main focus for you to survive and to have like a happy life in trading.
You can
I
even
know.
imagine, sorry, Thomas, I just want,
No, give it to
nothing.
yeah.
You can even imagine what your partner is feeling receiving those reactions from you.
Yes.
And whether they're trying to be supportive or not, you're slowly just like, it makes your heart sink when you think about it.
No,
You get mad at your partner for something that you completely
yeah.
did. And you can imagine now that if you had that trust, it's just slowly getting eroded away.
Oh,
And
wow.
luckily, thankfully for me, Hillary's bared through that. And maybe it was because we had a son, and things were just like, we're a very, very cohesive family. So maybe that just, but maybe if it was just her and I, and we didn't have a child, maybe it would have eroded her more, and she would have just, I'm going out then. I'm going out for a bit. I'm leaving the house. Like, we didn't have that option with Miles, obviously. So it's just something I think everybody that's watching this or listening, like, just be really aware of. At the same time, when you're having that shitty day, someone's going to receive that bad energy. And how are they taking it when they absolutely had nothing to do with it?
Yeah.
And is it and like, just to put the pin in it, are you upset that you lost the account, or are you upset with your decision making? For me, it always comes back to, I was just upset with how I handled myself in the moment. And yeah, taking that into the next conversation, this is perfect, because the importance of taking breaks away from the charts. I'm on one. I know Christine takes them frequently. Randy's had a few here and there. And I really want to hit the point of, you relieve yourself from this emotional attachment to whatever happened the last week or month, and why breaks are so important. So Christine, start us off.
Okay, I was going to say that I feel like I might be changing tides on this idea. So this is a good one to talk about, because you, Thomas, are on a break right now. And in my head, I'm like, Thomas, get back to the charts. And this is why. So I've taken lots of breaks, partly because, like I said earlier, I'm a mom. I'm if my kids are sick, I'm the first one that takes off. We travel a lot. So we transition between 2 countries in a year. And each time that's a huge transition, basically like moving a household. So I end up, on top of that, we travel for fun too. So usually I end up taking 2 weeks off like a number of times throughout the year. And at Christmas this last year, it was 3 weeks. And that, I felt that it was way too long. And like, consider where I'm at. I've been training for 2.5 years. I've not made a payout. So have my breaks that have broken up my consistency over the last year actually been detrimental to my trading? It's just a thought, because what Nick, in his podcast, we're going to have to link it below, guys. It's a great podcast. He talked about your only job is to show up the next day and find the best trade. And, that to me said a lot. It was like, okay, Christine, why am I taking time off because I'm like emotionally frustrated with the charts, or maybe I've been losing a lot? Like, my only job is to just keep going. So I do think breaks there's a space for them, but I also think there's like a line of too many breaks, because I have struggled with finding momentum and consistency because of all the breaks I take.
That's a very interesting point. Yeah. I get exactly what you're saying. If it's there's a fine line. So Randy, what's your take?
So I agree with both of you. I think there are times where you're just mentally and physically, I don't want to say beaten down, but just you're coming to for me, anything in life is, if you're not passionate about it, like, I'm not saying taking a break, you're not passionate, but there's times where you're coming to the desk and you're feeling the pressure and you're feeling everything. I think you should take a break. Mm-hmm. Like, that's where I'll disagree with Christine. Like, I think if you're mentally telling yourself you need a break, you should probably take a break. But it's what you do when you come back from the break.
Yeah.
Now, if you come back from the break and, you have a losing streak again, then I don't think a week later or 2 weeks later you're taking another break. because clearly there's something that needs to be worked on because you took a break. That wasn't the answer. So I did 3 weeks in Thailand was my first actual, I think I was my first actual break from trading for almost a year straight. Every day at the desk. I think maybe 1 or 2 days. Like it was the first time I actually took a break. And I didn't. Got to Thailand, set up my laptop, all my portable monitor, everything, started trying to trade, blew accounts, did this, like just 2 days of absolute hell. And prior to going to Thailand, I started the year thinking that I'm through my first year of trading. Now everything's gonna be scot-free. I don't got to worry about nothing. I'll get a payout before, like, just you think you made it over this hurdle. And so January was absolutely terrible for me. I was the worst trading I've ever done. And so we go on this vacation. I try and trade, worst trading I ever done. Take a break, come home, and I spent the last 10 days in Thailand, no trading, not even looking at charts, not going in the Black Shirt Club, not responding nothing. Total break from it all. And I came back and I started trading, and I started trading better. And I'm not saying it was the break, it could have been anything. But that time it worked. But if I had come back and I sucked again and I was having a really hard time, was it you know what I mean? Like there's obviously, like, I think it's, when you take these breaks, whatever you're doing heading into this break, have a plan. I'm going to let go of something, or, I'm going to take on something new, or I'm going to shed something and then come in from the break fresh. Other than that, I'm in Toronto right now. If you guys heard kids running around, I'm at my sister's. I got 4 or 5 kids in this house running around. And this morning, I told myself yesterday, we got in like 11:30 p.m. and I said, you know what? I'm not trading today. I'm not. I can trade for a little bit before I go to this dance competition, but I'm not going to do anything. I'm tired. And I'm glad I didn't. And I looked and there was some great trades and everybody caught this and that. And I was like, before I'd FOMO myself and be like, I'd be mad, but I'm like, no. But tomorrow I'm going to be on stream and I want to trade. I'm looking forward to it. It's 9:30 a.m. East Coast time. So this is the first time I can actually get up, have breakfast, have a coffee, hang out with the family, and then come and trade and then be done so I'm looking forward to that aspect of it. But I agree. I think breaks are good, but you have to have a plan going into the break, and just don't think that you're going to take a break and you're going to come back and you're getting a payout. Like that's the wrong attitude. But if you're telling yourself you need a break, you shouldn't be forcing the opposite side. And then, like I said, if you come back and then you need to really reassess: is it my strategy? Is it my psychology? What's going on here, right? But
I think everyone can resonate with both sides of that, because to one degree, yeah, this is our job and we have to be at the desk putting in the work. If you don't get the screen time in, you are not going to learn. And that is the basic. So if you're forced to take breaks where you can't watch the charts and all of this, then that becomes a different conversation. But I do really agree that you have to go into the break with the exact problem or thing in mind that you're doing. And let's just say though, you should also be taking breaks at your high periods too, because that you're going to the break of, I'm going to enjoy this good trading that I just had. And so I've taken 3 breaks in the 2 years that I've been trading, this being the third. The first one was after a pretty hard losing streak. More than anything, though, it was just myself getting frustrated with like seeing so much progress, but not passing a combine or whatever it was. I think it was getting a payout at this point. And then I just had a vacation plan, left for 2 weeks, came back on my first payout 2 weeks after that. It was like it was perfect. It was like the best way a break could have ever gone. Then I took another break during Christmas and just took the last 2 weeks of December off. I don't know. That was, if the banks are doing it, I'm going to do it, because that's my philosophy with this. And then that leads into this break, which is and I want to share this because, one, it is firstly it's a mutually beneficial, because I know the audience, they might be able to resonate with this and have an experience like this themselves. But also for me, it's ability to get it off my chest and to speak it and just, kind of talk it through, because on Wednesday was kind of the end of it for me, of being like, I am in such a bad losing streak right now. if I take another trade, and it's a loser, I'm going to go throw up. Like I can't, I physically can't stomach this anymore. And this is on a trade where I basically, in my personal account, I had a 3 to 4R fluctuation in P&L because I got stopped out to the tick, the absolute tick where it was like, and then just goes. And that was like a 4R P&L like fluctuation for me in my own account. And this was coming off of like, I think in the last 2 months, I've taken about 50 trades and I've had about 5 to 10 winners. Like that is, it has been really difficult where I don't even want to show up to the charts. It feels like I'm just showing up to lose money. And no one has the ability to stomach that, to like, unless if you're purely being a gambler, you're not going to be able to do that. And so that led to me just saying, I got to stop. So I stop. I take some time away from the charts 100%. And where it's like, I'm sleeping in. I'm not thinking about anything. But in those times, I'm using it to figure out, okay, what went wrong? What am I thinking about that went wrong? And how can I fix that? So when I get back off this break, I feel different. And for me, that was, accepting that maybe I left or like threw away the full-time income too soon, where I was basically forcing myself to make money trading. And if I didn't make money, I was going to be maybe break even for the month, if not dipping into my savings. Then I did a big move that dipped way into my savings, buying new furniture for a new house. All right, now I'm feeling uncomfortable. Now I'm trading from a place of I literally need this money. Like if I literally need it. And that is just the absolute worst place to trade from. I didn't believe it when people said it. You think you can do better or move past it or override it. And it just sneaks up on you in so many different ways. And so now I've set different plans of action moving forward. I'm going back, getting new education to level up my income, all of this kind of stuff. But as I know, I could come back. I could trade today. I could have traded today. I could have traded yesterday. I could trade tomorrow. But do I want to come in on a Friday and start trading? No, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to let it all, sit through and just come back with a new week and start it fresh. So what did you want to say, Randy?
Well, no, that's the key. You have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
What I was trying to say is you can't just willy-nilly take a break from the charts and come back and think that everything is gonna get back to normal, right? And especially everyone listening, this year has been insane with the volatility. If you're coming in to learn to trade this year, give yourself some credit. If you're still in it and you still want to be a trader, you haven't been defeated. You are on the right path. Like, just remember that.
Yeah.
You've traded through absolute. I thought that whole yen pair thing was something last summer that we witnessed that volatility. That's just a blip on a day of a Trump tweet or tariff talk. Like, that's nothing. But yeah, again, if you just, like I said, you have a plan, you stick to that plan, and no matter where you are in the world, just plan your breaks around American holidays. That's all that matters.
America.
That's when the banks are closed.
Yeah.
You don't need to be trading that. If you want to trade, you might as well go trade the Asian session and don't even trade the New York session if that's your plan. But I'm just saying, like, now with Hillary, I tell her all the time, like, it's a holiday next Monday, I believe, in the US, or this Monday coming up. I think it's Memorial Day.
Oh,
that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're flying home from Toronto,
Yeah.
so it couldn't have worked out better. It's a holiday,
Yeah.
right? So I don't got to worry about having to even force myself to be at the desk for that day, because there's days where you're going to be hungry, you're going to be just learning, and you're going to want to be. I'll be at the desk every morning. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Those American holidays, enjoy them. Go do something with your family. If you're single, go do something for yourself. Like, get those breaks in when those breaks are presented to you. Take them, and then if you do need one, take it. And if you're taking multiple breaks and you're not getting the the results you need out of those, then you got to start really looking at, is there something, but yeah, thanks. Go ahead,
I
Christine.
think that goes into kind of what Thomas was talking about and what we've heard. I think it's from Isaac, actually, almost taking proactive breaks and like it proactively knowing that you're going to take off the US holidays. That gives you these breaks. If you've had 4 days of green, taking your 5th day off. Like, why do you need to be on the charts when you've had 4 good trading days? That's what you said, Thomas. Like, when you're up, take a break. Like, when you've had these great streaks, take a day, 2. Mentally, I think what you were talking about, Thomas, like, I totally get you taking a break. I remember one time coming back from a trip, and I honestly had no desire to trade.
Mhm.
Like, I just didn't have the will, and I took that week off, and I'm like, I just didn't do it. So there are going to be those times. In your situation of having 50 trades and like what 5 to 10 of them being winners,
like just a terrible win rate.
Yeah, but I've heard that before from amazing traders. Like, we've all heard the stories of really good, profitable traders going through an extended period of drawdown. That is the job. Like, that is going to happen. Like, we're not shitty traders because, we've had an extended amount of red days. Well, maybe, but like, you know what I mean? Like, even good traders have that. So, it sounds like a break in, especially that kind of situation, is amazing. And then when we can proactively put these breaks, I have to add this in. This is not for you. It's for the girls. Some girls like me should be looking at their month and taking breaks during certain times. Because,
we all know what that means. Yeah.
We have the same, Christine, we have the same problem. So when our partners, we need to time when it's their month. So we know maybe we just need to take our laptop and go to Starbucks and trade for a week, right?
100%. I swear I said, I think I tweeted, or I don't know what I said, but basically Tradezilla was my new period tracker because it could 100% tell me when I should not have been on the charts and I should be in bed watching Netflix. So that's for the girls, not for everyone. Most of you don't have to deal with that. But if you're a dude and you have a wife at home, then you know what I'm talking about.
Thomas, we need to reach out to Kathy Woods or somebody and get them on the podcast and get their opinion. Get some hedge fund, get some female hedge fund manager on the podcast. We need to get to the bottom of this.
Does she have to deal with that anymore? Like, once you're
I think she deals with it. She deals with it every day. She's like got the worst performing hedge fund in history.
but maybe there's something that we need to talk to her about it, right? Maybe she needs a break. Let's get her on the pod. Let's reach out to her and get her on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll get Kathy Wood on the pod.
Okay.
But to kind of tie this all together, I feel like the last topic to talk about is being a student of the market and being in the mindset of being able to receive. I feel like everything is always a learning experience if you can view it from the right, paradigm perspective. And when I get too into, too into trading where all I'm hyper focused on is, the P&L results of the day or even the week, I know I'm not in a space to receive new information. And the break is what really helps me ground myself and get back to that space. So I'd love to hear your guys' take on just being a student of the market and, having the right energy to receive information. So let's go, Randy.
Oh, I need a minute to think on this one.
All right, Christine.
I can go. I always have something to say. I think it's like you need a time to like chill, your brain out, because you can get so just like psyched about things. And like, let's say you've had a few green days and you're just like in it like a little crackhead trading the markets. And and that can be when you're losing too. And you're right. It's like taking that break to just get yourself back to an equilibrium. And that's actually hard. Like, it's hard. And you have to really understand who you are. Like, I'm a person that likes a high win rate. So I catch myself coming to the desk still and expecting that. And it's like, that's not coming from like a middle ground emotionally. That's coming from already this like high vibration energy. Like, look at me like I'm talking like I have a million crystals around and I know what I'm talking about. I don't. But all I'm saying is when you come to the chart and you think like you're so amped because you expect it to be green, it's probably not allowing that new information to come in to totally read the charts appropriately. And I think you can also talk about your like internal bias, right? Like if you naturally always think that the price is going higher, or you naturally always think the price is going lower, it's hard when you've already put yourself in that space to read the information, like to actually read a chart without any bias is actually super
Very difficult.
Yeah.
No, I gonna get exactly what Christine said. I would have said the same thing. Like when you come in with that energy and you're expecting, like, we had a little bit of a healthy pullback in the overnight session, and price supported at a level, and it just looked beautiful, and this thing's going to do nothing but go up, and it is an hour of absolute chop that you're stuck in because you mismanage your trade, where the good trader, and I hate to do this, I'm going to give Austin credit. I don't want to.
Why do you hate to do that?
I decided because he's gonna watch this and be like up in arms. Like, I gotta just look the chops. No, but just how Austin comes in on a choppy day and enters and exits. Where here I am with this bias in my head that price is gonna go, 25 points higher, and I'm gonna catch this move, and I'm gonna look like the hero, and I'm gonna have this small, stop loss because I think here's my level of key support. And I don't look at trading from level to level. I have that expectation, right? And I think that's that energy that you're just like coming to the market thinking, I'm going to take from the market what I want. That's not the case. You take what the market gives you and be content with it. I cannot say that enough.
And that's why it's so important to like audit your thoughts, because how many times personally have I thought in the last 2 months, man, if I just have one good day, I'm back on track. One good day back on track. Two good days back on track. Then I'm out of drawdown. Then I'm like, and you just like play out this delusional fantasy of what could happen in a best case scenario. And if like that's what maybe keeps you going to the next day, you're gonna be trading with that in mind the next day. You're gonna trade like shit, like I did, and just feel more discouraged going into your break and need more time off and all of the things that come with it.
Yes.
Like you nailed it. Exactly. Like nailed it, Thomas, to a T.
And to that, I was going to just say, like, do you feel like when you go on streams or you're looking at other people's charts, like, do you ever feel like the energy of something, like, I know you talked about this before, like reading something before you trade, and it like changes your energy and your mindset? And like for me, I'll get like amped because I love trading, and I'll just get like, I see other people excited about it, especially Austin. His energy is so high, but like anyone, like I just get super amped from seeing them like out there, and then I'm like on the charts being a crazy little trader, and it's like that does affect me. Like when I first started trading, I would put on classical music at the open because I traded the 5-minute open, and I watched no one. I was like, I'm not letting anything bother me. I'm cool, calm, and collected. But now I'm like in the zone all the time. So like, how do you manage that?
I'll go because this has got me more times than you know. And I actually thought of this earlier because before this podcast started, Christine asked, she said, did you watch Tradeify TV? And I didn't want to be like, fuck no, but that's what I thought in my head of. There was a very distinct point sometime late last year, maybe September-ish, because I remember in August I was getting influenced by Crudeli, and then all of these different people were influencing me. And I remember on the coaching call, Austin just kind of said, like, do you need, like, but you have all the information that you need in your head. You don't need anything else. And so what that really taught me was I need to have trust in myself. And when I go on other people's streams, I get influenced by their energy. I get influenced by their bias. For some reason, you start thinking they know more than you know. And it has been nothing but a detriment to my own trading so if anything, I'm trying to go back to Christine, like what you're doing with the classical music and everything like that, because that's really where I find my best, most grounded days come from.
So Thomas, I think I'm not done reading it. I'm halfway through and I don't want to start reciting because one thing I'm terrible at, I got to read a book probably 2 or 3 times before I can actually like talk about the book, like actually say what I took from, but it's called Clear Thinking. It's by Shane Parrish. He's the guy from Farnham Street. Like he's got a killer, The Knowledge Project. It's a killer podcast, but he's I think he's CIA, an old CIA, like an ex-CIA guy that but was like on the data side. And he just wrote this book about clear thinking. And like Thomas, what you're saying is like we're biologically we have these traits to be like think in a group and all these things and like how you're saying on stream and people's energy and it like he walks you through the steps of like thinking something clearly through on your own, like looking at instead of coming to the chart with a bias, looking at all the long biases, looking at all the short biases, understanding both sides of it. And then it's a lot like I haven't done that, but I'm saying like to be able to like remove yourself from that. He calls it tribal, like there's like tribal thought process, like walking in and the social thought process. Like if everybody on stream is long and I go short, now I'm fading everyone. And to top it off, I'm not going to be included with the tribe. Like it's almost like your brain is programmed to be, you got to do what everybody else is doing because that's the easiest path is always to agree with everyone. Right? As soon as you disagree, but if you try to understand what you're disagreeing with the person about, it'll give you a different perspective. But just an interesting book. I'm not done it. I think it's Thomas. I'm going to send it to you actually next to read, but to have this whole just to kind of feed more off of what we're talking about and having influences from the outside affect how we. It's like Austin said to you, Thomas. You know what you're looking at when you're looking at the chart. Whether you're texting me or texting Christine and I'm long or she's short, it shouldn't matter because you're looking at, it's like Austin when he trades level to level. I don't see it, but he sees it. I'm out here, I'm in here, and I'm just like holding on to my trade still. Like, why am I not? But again, I want to prove Austin wrong. I want to have a better trade than him probably in my head. Like there's something of keeping me in, not letting me get out from what, or I'm in small size, so I need another 5 points to make.
You want to outshine the master.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's so many. I told myself I was taking a payout this month. I'm 10 days away from there and I'm nowhere near it. So a few weeks ago, I had to let go of that, right? And be like, what am I doing? Like, here I am. I'm just going to start blowing shit up. Like
it's those expectations that just fuck everything up. Every
so now I'm just going to trade. I'm going to trade how I want to trade. And the payout will come when it comes.
Yeah.
Christine, is there anything you want to add before we wrap up this episode?
No, I think it was a good one. It was a lot of good info. I could probably talk for another hour, but
I know. Yeah.
Next episode.
Yeah, we're gonna keep this coming. Every week. So
we'd love to hear in the comments. Like if you guys have any topics, any ideas, anything. Like this is the whole purpose of this platform, and we're gonna start getting guests on and start. If you have anybody that if you want to come on the podcast for all we don't. We're open to everything, but we just kind of want to keep this conversation always going and don't ever think you're by yourself. And this is the reason the three of us are still in this game together is because we found the three of us and, hopefully other people find us and we find you guys. And we met people at these in-person events that just have changed us profoundly, all of us. So
absolutely.
That's how I want to end up.
And sharing, giving back to the community in in the best way that we know how. So, yeah. With that all being said, have a great trading week, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.